Mick Mulvaney may no longer be in the Trump administration. He's just a special envoy. Oh, how fancy. But he is still running his mouth, as Trump administration officials like to do. And he's actually opening up about his feelings about Trump's handling of the coronavirus, but now only because it's affected him and his family is he being critical. That's typical conservative fashion. So I know it isn't popular to talk about in some Republican circles, he says, but we still have a testing problem in this country. No way. My son was tested recently, but we had to wait 5 to 7 days for results. My daughter wanted to get tested before visiting her grandparents, but was told she didn't qualify. That is simply inexcusable at this point in the pandemic. Trump says we have the best testing in the world over and over and over again. Here are just some examples of his insane braggadociousness when it comes to this issue, and it's also fake news, by the way.
We have a great testing system. We have the best, right now, the best testing system in the world.
So we have the best testing in the world.
We have got the greatest testing program anywhere in the world. We test better than anybody in the world. Our tests are the best in the world, and we have the most of them.
When you do testing to that extent, you're gonna find more people, you're gonna find more cases. So I said to my people, slow the testing down, please.
Yeah, so I don't know if you heard the word testing so many times, or if you drank, it was a drinking game, you might be dead by now. He repeated it a lot and he said we had the best. It's just fake, that's not true. We are certainly behind still other countries in our testing efficiency and in our testing in general.
Yeah, so first of all, you wouldn't be dead though if you were drinking bleach. You'd just be cured of COVID-19.
Oh, obviously, good medical advice, Cenk.
Yeah. By the way, I'm kidding. That's what Trump said. You never know when people take things seriously online. Okay, so I love the Mulvaney story because conservatives are so selfish that they never think anything is happening until it happens to them. So they're like, oh, testing's fine. Oh, poor people, middle class people, they're not getting tested. Who cares? That's not a thing. Who cares? Who cares? My son and daughter can't get tested or can't get the results back in time. Oh my God, what an outrage. It's an outrage because it now happened to me. And so there's two parts to that. One is just being a conservative apparently in America just does not allow you to have empathy for any other person. The second part is they're the elites. And so they think, well, if it's happening to regular people, no one cares. But if it's happening to us elites, well, that's totally unacceptable. The third part of it is Mulvaney, I don't think he's throwing Trump under the bus. There's some chance he's throwing the current chief of staff under the bus. Say, oh, when I was chief of staff. On the other hand, he was chief of staff for some portion of this, and the testing sucked back then too. So I think that he's mainly, again, not bright enough to realize you shouldn't complain about testing only when it affects you. He just thinks that's the normal thing to do. You only care when it bothers you.
I think he may be testing the waters just a little bit on trying to distance himself from Trump. And this is just my hunch from these quotes, but we're seeing this trend a little bit with the Republican Party, at least trying to rhetorically distance themselves from Trump. They'll vote with him all the time. But he's making these sly comments, Mick Mulvaney, that affects nothing, but it's still fascinating because it's a canary in the coal mine for the Republican Party going into this election. He says, we could also direct more money for research or more temporary hospital beds or therapeutics. If we are going to borrow hundreds of billions of dollars, let's do it to treat the cause of our economic illness, not just the symptoms. And then he says more interestingly, if the election ends up being a popularity contest or worse, a referendum on President Trump, I think he's got some real headwinds to face. If it's a referendum on him, and you're saying that that's gonna be an uphill battle, is that not an indictment of not only your time as chief of staff and in the administration, but of Trump himself?
Yeah, come to think of it, there might be a little bit of throwing Trump under the bus too. And the reason I say that is not just the severity of the quotes, Emma, that you read, and I think you're right that there's at least a little bit of distancing attempt here. But remember, everybody who worked with Trump, he was terrible to. So Trump would never listen to him. He would constantly belittle him and publicly threw him under the bus many times. So people who work for him generally wind up despising him because he's such a terrible guy, even to other terrible people. See, they thought there was honor among thieves. Remember, Mick Mulvaney, it took tremendous amount of money from payday lenders, was massively right wing when he went to the Office of Management and Budget, and then Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. He gutted all consumer protection. He always looked out for the bankers and his donors. He's a terrible guy. So I think he thought there'd be honor among thieves, and Trump is like, no, you're just a punching bag for me, idiot. So that can't help but burrow under your skin a little bit. So I think you're largely right, Emma. It's not so much the lack of intelligence in this case that he doesn't know what he's doing. It seems to be more so like, well, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. And I hate Trump, but I can't say it out loud.
Yeah, and it's just fascinating because Trump values loyalty, he says, so much, but he does nothing to garner loyalty.
Yeah, Trump, that's such a great point, Emma. Loyalty is a two-way street, but not for Trump. He never, ever shows the kind of loyalty he demands from others. And so that's why you have Michael Cohen turning on him. That's why you have people like Rex Tillerson and Mad Dog Mattis, and at times John Kelly, and now even Mick Mulvaney saying, no, they bungled this and the testing's a disaster. And last thing, Brett, if you got the Europe versus America graphic, I want to show that in this context too, because most of Europe, not all of it, Sweden did not do a good job, but most of Europe, Germany and the others did a fantastic job of testing. And so we all got hit in the beginning, but then their numbers went down, whereas America's numbers never went down, and the number of cases we have actually went up. And that's what happens when you don't have a good system of testing, contact tracing, and isolating. They did that great in New Zealand, also obviously in Germany and Europe, as I explained, and hence their cases went down and ours went up. So is Mulvaney right that we blew the testing and it made a giant difference? Yes, for the first time in a long time, Mulvaney's actually right.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.